It was a warm summer evening in a small town in Louisiana. Beyonce, wearing a simple white blouse and jeans, had just finished a charity event and decided to take a quiet walk through the town's quaint streets. The streets were lined with small shops and charming cafes, their windows glowing softly in the twilight. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the old oak trees that framed the sidewalks, adding a peaceful ambience to the scene. As she strolled past a local park, she heard the faint sound of a soulful melody carried on the breeze. It was soft at first, almost blending with the rustling leaves, but as she moved closer, the sound grew stronger, filled with raw emotion and power. Curious, Beyonce followed the music to its source. She passed a playground where children laughed and played, and a small fountain where families gathered, until she reached a quiet corner of the park. In that corner, she saw a young girl, no older than 12, sitting on a wooden bench with a battered guitar. Her fingers moved skillfully over the strings, and her voice soared, rich and powerful, as she sang a song that seemed to come from deep within her soul. The girl's clothes were simple, and her guitar showed signs of wear, but her presence was magnetic. She sang as though the entire world had disappeared, her eyes closed, completely lost in the music. Beyonce stood in the shadows, captivated by the girl's talent. She leaned against a nearby lamppost, allowing the music to wash over her. The girl's voice carried a depth of emotion that belied her young age, and her fingers glided effortlessly over the guitar strings, creating a melody that was both haunting and beautiful. A few passers-by stopped to listen, forming a small, enchanted audience. They stood quietly, drawn in by the girl's raw talent and the emotion in her voice. When the song ended, the girl opened her eyes and looked startled to see Beyonce standing there, clapping softly. The passers-by joined in the applause, their faces lit with admiration. "That was beautiful," Beyonce said, stepping closer. Her voice was warm and encouraging, her smile genuine. "What's your name?" The girl's jaw dropped as she realized who was speaking to her. Her cheeks flushed with a mix of surprise and excitement. "I'm Jasmine," she said shyly, clutching her guitar tightly. "Thank you, Miss Beyonce." "I didn't think anyone would stop to listen," Beyonce smiled warmly. "How long have you been playing?" she asked, sitting down on the bench beside Jasmine. Her presence was calming, and Jasmine began to relax. Jasmine hesitated, glancing down at her guitar. "A couple of years. My mom taught me before she." Her voice trailed off, and she looked away, her expression tinged with sadness. Beyonce's heart ached. She could see the pain behind Jasmine's words. "I'm sorry to hear that," she said gently. "But you have an incredible gift. Have you ever thought about sharing your music with more people?" Jasmine shook her head. "I'd love to, but I don't know how," she admitted. "I just play here because it makes me feel close to her." Her voice was quiet, but there was a strength in her determination. Beyonce nodded, understanding the depth of Jasmine's connection to music. She thought for a moment before speaking. "Jasmine, you've got something special. Would you like to perform on a bigger stage?" Jasmine's eyes widened. "A bigger stage? Me?" she asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "Yes," Beyonce said firmly. "I'm hosting a small concert tomorrow night in New Orleans. How about you join me on stage for a song?" Jasmine's hands trembled as she processed Beyonce's words. I don't think I'm ready," she said, her voice shaking. "You're more ready than you think," Beyonce assured her. "And I'll be right there with you." The next evening, Jasmine found herself backstage at a grand theater in New Orleans. The theater was magnificent, with high ceilings, ornate decorations, and rows of plush seats that stretched out to the stage. Her worn guitar felt out of place among the gleaming instruments and professional setup, but Beyonce's encouraging words echoed in her mind, keeping her steady. Beyonce stayed by Jasmine's side, introducing her to the crew and helping her feel at ease. She even took Jasmine through a quick rehearsal, offering tips and advice. "Just be yourself," Beyonce told her. "That's what people will connect with." When it was time, Beyonce walked onto the stage first, addressing the crowd with her signature warmth and charisma. "Tonight, I want to share the stage with someone who reminds me of why I fell in love with music," she said. "Please welcome Jasmine." The spotlight hit Jasmine as she walked onto the stage, her heart pounding. The audience erupted into applause, their cheers echoing through the grand theater. Jasmine took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and began to play. Her voice, rich with emotion, filled the room, silencing the crowd. The melody was haunting, and the lyrics spoke of love, loss, and resilience. As Jasmine sang, Beyonce watched from the side of the stage, her expression filled with pride. The audience was mesmerized, hanging onto every note. When the song ended, there was a moment of stunned silence before the theater erupted into applause. Jasmine opened her eyes, tears streaming down her face as she took in the standing ovation. Backstage, Beyonce hugged Jasmine tightly. "You were incredible," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "This is just the beginning for you." Tears streamed down Jasmine's face as she whispered, "Thank you for believing in me." Her voice was steady now, filled with newfound confidence. Beyonce smiled. "Promise me one thing," she said. "When you find someone who needs a little help to shine, pay it forward." Jasmine nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "I will," she said. And so, a chance encounter in a small town park became the start of a journey for Jasmine. With Beyonce's belief in her talent and the power of music, Jasmine began a new chapter in her life, ready to share her gift with the world and inspire others along the way. And this brings us to the end of this story. Thank you for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. See you in the next one.